Hey, folks, it's time for the quote of the day. And today's quote is going to come to you from, without a doubt, one of the greatest thinkers, one of the greatest minds in modern history. I'm not overselling that at all, by the way. Without a doubt, one of the greatest analytical minds in human history, I believe. And funny enough, one of the inspirations for something that I'm working on, possibly a book. I don't know. We'll see. And then today's quote of the day actually leads directly to that, because it's been something that I've thought about. It's been something that I've really entertained a lot in my own head, and it's kind of driven me into a whole new way of thinking. Now, when I talk about this man, I think that it's important to understand that when I talk about him, not necessarily his life, but his way of thinking, this is also insight into my way of thinking. A lot of people question from time to time my anti-religious stance and things like that. A lot of that comes from reading and understanding the man whose birthday it is today, and that is Bertrand Russell. Now, I've quoted him, I would say probably 3 or 4 times before I started doing the birthday thing. He's absolutely one of my favorite people to talk about, one of my favorite people to quote. I think that he was just so immensely inspirational in his like kind of cold, hard logic way of thinking. That's what he was. He was a logician and a philosopher and a mathematician, and all of this didn't come out of nowhere, right? Like he didn't become these things that are kind of cold and calculating on their own. He looked at them. He studied them. I don't remember what he was where he was doing an interview, but he did an interview once where because a lot of people back then had a real hard time. This wasn't so long ago that they didn't have television and things like that, just so that people know. Like he was doing a television interview. I think it was in like 19, I would say like 65 or something like that, and near his death. But they asked him like why he's an agnostic, why he's an atheist, and how they just couldn't imagine like what that kind of thing, and he talks about it, and he's like, I from the ages of 15 to 18, I basically broke down all of the Christian dogmas. And I started to investigate them. I started to learn about them. I started to read about them. And at the age of 18 or thereabouts, he basically just arrived at the fact that all of those dogmas could be essentially discarded because none of them made any sense. They weren't logical. They were actually contradictory. That was a hard word to say. They were contradictory to each other, and they just didn't make sense anymore in a logical world. And so when he talks about this, and you're thinking about this kind of thing, I want you to understand that that's a lot of where I come from. That's a lot of the way that my mind works. Is it just doesn't make sense. Like you say this thing and you do this thing. Well, that doesn't, like, what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. That's, if you're going to say you believe in this, then you should do the things you believe in, right? Like that's otherwise there's no reason for it. You're just making shit up and then making it like you just feel good about it, right? But that doesn't do anything, and it doesn't actually make any difference in the world, right? And that's the point that you get to when you start to break these things down logically. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that say, well, belief is important and you need to believe, and with sight unseen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you can see it or not. It doesn't matter. You have to believe. And I get that, but also why? Like, if somebody can give me a real reason of why we are supposed to believe, then maybe I'll entertain it. But as of yet in this life, and in Bertrand Russell's life as well, there's been no actual reason, like nothing that makes it better. Like I don't have to believe that these things make me better. I don't have to, like, it just doesn't it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel like it actually does anything. And so, he's not attacking, and I'm not attacking people that want to believe these things, but at the same time, he kind of is, because how much of a disservice does it do to your progress in life when you bring in a bunch of shit that is just complete and total make believe nonsense, and you focus on it, and you throw a bunch of shit into it, and you spend money on it, and you like all these things, like, and this isn't just for religion, right? This isn't just for faith. This is for modern day spiritualism. This is for just the tarot girlies, and just the this way of like just throwing money and time and energy into shit that is just completely and totally like nonsensical. It's not real. There's no proof of it anywhere other than just people saying I believe. That's not proof of anything, and that's not proof that it works. That's not proof that it does anything. And at some point in time, you got to give up on those beliefs and look towards reality. Now, I know I'm not going to sway anybody with this argument. I understand that. That's not really the point. The point is that this is how people like me and Bertrand Russell think. It's just a matter of logic being the prevailing wind, if you will, and being the thing that drives us forward. Now, as far as the quote of the day, this is one, like I said, that has inspired me in a way that I believe, and I'm still, it's still very much nebulous, like up there floating around. I'm not sure, I need to put more to paper. Right now, I just have notes, but I believe that this is kind of the work that I'll be doing going forward is on this type of subject. Bertrand Russell once said, "The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts." I've used this quote before, but do you need proof of this right now in the world that we live in? Do you need? I mean, I literally can like pin the tail on the donkey, blindfold myself, and spin around and point, and there will be an example of this. Let me read it again. The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts. Why is this? Why is this something that is true? Because it's definably true, right? Like we can't argue about it. It is absolutely true. It almost seems as if the dumber you are, the louder you get. And again, you point in a direction and there'll be an example. So this is the reason for this is because when you start to gain intellect, and this is honestly, this is one of the reasons, and he talks about this. This is something that he talks about in this writing and further on into his life. The more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know everything. The more knowledge you bring in, the more you start to recognize how ignorant you are. It's like the kind of the weird opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect. Like when you're too stupid to know that you're stupid, you think that like that's we have that study to show to prove what Bertrand Russell is talking about. But there's something about that that's kind of the other way, which is when you are, as you acquire intellect, as you acquire an understanding of logic and analysis and things like that, you start to understand that we don't know much, right? Like we as individuals, first of all, don't know shit, and as a species, as humans, we really don't know much. We assume we do, and we make these large sweeping assumptions about our experience, about other people's lives, about the way the world works, and the reality is that that's probably not, like, usually it's not accurate. Like a lot of times that's kind of the point of science, right? Is to kind of disprove what our belief was before and then move into a new understanding. Like that's what science does. It's taking what is, questioning it, and then finding the new path, right? Like that's what we do. And that's the thing that is so difficult for people, is letting go of what they believed was real, right? Letting go of your belief and turning to instead provable, definable reality, because you feel like you've lost something. But the reality is that more often than not, if you allow yourself to let go of ego, let go of pride, let go of, in insubstantiated beliefs, you gain something. You gain that knowledge that you don't know everything, and with that comes even greater knowledge. That's one of the reasons why people that are wise or people that are intelligent always, they suffer from, should I say anything? Do I say anything? Am I right about this? Should I, some people consider insecurity, but it's not really insecurity as much as it's just not being overly confident for no fucking reason, right? Like that's what we're used to as a baseline. Instead of having discussion and debate, we now just go on the internet and loudly proclaim that we know better, and we don't. Happy birthday to Bertrand Russell, one of the greatest thinkers of all time. The rest of you take care of yourself. Take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.